Hello and welcome back to another Project Diablo 2 video. I am Kordesh and today we are going to be going over the Warcry Barbarian as a solo in-game mapper. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over the skills. So as far as the skills, we're maxing out Warcry and then all of its synergies. I also opted to go for Howl because it gives more damage just because this is a solo build. I only put 1 point in Grimward. But yeah, so we maxed out Warcry, then after that we maxed out Battlecry. Then after that, I think went Battle Command, then Howl or something like that. And now we're putting points into Battle Orders, which will be maxed out once I'm like 95 or something. So yeah, just grab all the synergies from Warcry. You're going to want to put 1 point in these Combat Masteries and nothing in Combat Skills. So that's pretty much it. Alright, let's go ahead and go over the gear. So I have my stats on this side just in case you want to look at that. But the big thing here is we're going for this 105 breakpoint. I tried playing around with the 200, but it's just really challenging to hit that breakpoint. So I opted for 105, and as you can see, I'm at 106, so we're just barely there. You basically need a 15 cast speed Arax, but there's other ways to kind of build this out, but this is how I went for it. So first up, we're dual wielding Hodos, so that's +6 to all skills, 30 FCR, and then about 50 resistances between the two. And yeah, so I like Hodo. It's a good +6 to all skills and 60 FCR. It's a lot of good stuff. As far as the armor, I did go for the Enigma, and after playing around with Leap for a bit and then playing around with the Nausea set with the teleport on that, I felt like it was just necessary. It just speeds up the clear by too much, so it's kind of, in my opinion, mandatory in the build as a solo mapper. If you're going for more of a support, then it's probably better to go for a +3 corruption, like a +2 to all skills chest with a +1 corruption, just so you can get Battlecry as high as possible, as well as your battle orders. I opted for a Halabard's Reign, and so the reason why, I mean, you can go for like a +220 FCR if you need the faster cast rate, but for this, it's got a lot of cool stuff. So it's got the Barbarian all skill levels, so that's giving Warcry damage. Masteries gives us, resist and some random stuff, which is fine, I guess. The Battlecry and the Battle Orders are good. We like those things, especially the Battlecry. So I wish this was a +3 Battlecry, but I'll take what I can get. The big reason why I'm using this is because physical damage taken reduced by 15%. That is a very huge, it's fantastic. So between this and some other stuff, we're at 21% physical damage reduction, which is pretty awesome. And as you can see, we have a pretty good amount of hit points, much more once we go Battle Command. So we're almost at 3k, so having PDR is really, really helpful, and we're capped on Res as well, so it just increases survivability a lot, especially since we're not using a shield. As far as a amulet, I got this +3 Warcry's 10 FCR, which is pretty good. You can use a +220 FCR here, or Amara's, or whatever, but this works out really well for hitting the breakpoint. As far as gloves, any 20 FCR would do. I really like the Occultist. The curse reduction is fantastic. And if you don't know, the way that this works is basically when the curse gets applied to you, it reduces the duration of it, but it checks the duration again every 2 seconds, like on a tick, I think, similar to Cleanse, the Cleansing Aura. And so it doesn't, it's kind of weird how the curse duration or poison duration works. So look into that, see if you like it. I like these gloves a lot. As far as the rings, it's just double Stone of Jordan. I just like skill rings. And then we have an Arachnid's Mesh with a 16 FCR +1 all skills. And then boots, we're using Marowaks just because of the Cannot Be Frozen. I have a 2% PDR, which is nice. And, the regenerate mana is pretty decent as well. As far as the Mercenary, we have a Insight in a Colossus Vulge. You will just go if you don't have an Insight going. You just need that Meditation Aura. Kind of sucks, but if I didn't use this, I would probably use Reaper's Toll or some way to get amplified damage, which would increase the damage by a ton. But I haven't figured out a good way to handle my mana. I don't have mana on kill or anything like that. Maybe using Jewels with that or Tears or something. But so yeah, I'm still rocking the Insight. We have a Fortitude, we have a Lifesteal Helm, and we have a String of Ears, CBF Boots, and Ling of Hands. Alright, so we're going to do a little bit of a map showcase. So, as you can see here, we have some fizz, basically some random stuff. This is Corrupted, 300% density Fall of Chaldea map. This is a pretty dangerous map for a lot of characters, but honestly, I like it on my Barbarian. You'll notice that as I do maps on my Barbarian, it's very high intensity, very high APM. It feels like, not like StarCraft or something, but like it feels like very intense. And so I feel like I could only run maps for about an hour on my Barbarian because I knock them out very quickly, but then I kind of, it's a little draining as far as like grinding that out that much for me. And so I'll do this build for a little bit, then I'll go to a more chill build. But yeah, so that's the map. That's where we're going to be running. I'm going to record the footage and then I'm going to edit my voice over it because if not, you're going to hear me clacking on my mechanical keyboard constantly, and I don't really want that. So here we go. All right, so here's the map showcase. As you can see, it's a 300 density. We go in, we're going to buff up with Battle Command twice, then Battle Orders and Shout. And the FCR is so fast that we can really apply it quickly. As you can see, I'm basically telestomping with Enigma, and then the first thing I'm casting is Battlecry to shred their PDR. As you can see, that little red icon is on all the monsters. So I teleport, then I Battlecry, then I start doing Warcry for that 9k AoE physical damage. And yeah, it's pretty effective. I will say that my FHR is decent, but teleporting around, it definitely feels kind of bugged here or there, especially when you're getting hit. Like sometimes you can't teleport. Obviously, you know, if you're in FHR in those frames, you're not going to be able to teleport. So sometimes that is a little wonky and you don't go where you think you're going to go. So as you can see, sometimes I fail to teleport and I Warcry where I'm already standing. And that does give us a little bit of a delay. But other than that, I mean, the damage is pretty high. The way that I do maps is I juice them up and then I try and go fast. And I'm trying to kill as many monsters as possible. I'm not hunting for stragglers because stragglers honestly just slow you down and they're not really worth it. I'd rather get into another map and be killing, you know, 5 to 10 monsters at a time, go to the next pack 5 to 10 at a time, because it takes me the same amount of time to do that with the Warcry AoE versus hunting down like 1 or 2 Hierophants or something. So that's just my personal take. You know, if you don't have a big map pool, you know, maybe try and squeeze every bit of life out of your maps. But I basically have infinite maps at this point, and I share maps with friends. So this part's a little sketchy. As you can see, my health plummets repeatedly. And that's kind of just how the Warcry Barbarian is. You have 3k hit points, PDR, max res, all that stuff, but like you still take a lot of damage. You don't have block or anything like that. You could go for a Storm Shield or some kind of block setup, but I did not. I play softcore. You know, if we die, we die, you know. Not a big deal. On the ground, you can see I have a custom loot filter that a friend of mine is working on, so that's kind of fun. And yeah, so I try and pick up some full rejuves as we go, and then we're just going to keep on teleporting around and Warcry and stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot, you know, else to talk about of the gameplay. It's just kind of telestomp in, hold on to your butts, and press a rejuve if things get really sketchy and dangerous. So that's pretty much it. Maintain your buffs, and yeah, enjoy the loots. But I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this a smidge. All right, so now we're playing through it a little bit faster. We find a I think S Stone Crusher here, which is pretty neat. As you can see, the loot filter actually tells you what the item is, which I love. So big shout out to 7wolf77 for doing all that work. He's basically hasn't played the game in a week, which has been mildly annoying, but the results on the loot filter are pretty amazing, so I can't really blame him. And yeah, so let's go ahead and see if we can go ahead and zoom this up a little bit. And yeah, so we're just gonna zoom this up so you can see. I mean, the gameplay is not going to change very much. I'm just telestomping stuff, AoEing packs, teleporting forward a little bit, AoE that pack, teleport, AoE, teleport, AoE. Just really the same thing. Teleport, Battlecry, Warcry. Make sure your buffs don't fall off. If you are finding something that's very challenging for single target, you can absolutely throw up a Grim Ward and taunt it, so your Merc can hit it a little bit harder. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, so as you see in that, I just swapped my right click to throw because I think it was on force move. And sometimes when it's on force move, it'll try and like move instead of teleporting. So make sure, I like to always have my right click on throw if I'm smart casting. And that's way, if it switches to the smart cast and switches back, it's always trying something that will do nothing. Whereas if it tries to click and does an icon that you have, it will try and attempt to do that. So if it's Warcry, it'll cast it. If it's, you know, move, it'll try and move there. So that was definitely something that I needed to switch just there. And I highly recommend for anybody using SmartCast. So we're kind of just going through. I'm I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So we're just going to skip ahead. And we're just killing more monsters. Alright, so yeah, let me go ahead and skip ahead. Basically, I mean, really nothing else super notable happens. I'm just kind of going around, war crying things, looting. This is a very good width, this bridge. It basically, your war cry hits from one distance to the other. So when monsters are grouped up in a distance like that, it's really, really nice. When I'm in situations like this, I'm always trying to teleport onto the ranged monsters. Sometimes I'll run, and that's just because there's a recharge time on teleport, and as you can see on the bottom right, we have that skill bar, and it... sorry, let me get that to fade away. Yeah, I have that skill bar, and you can see that the F key, where I have teleport, will sometimes be red, and that's just because I'm teleporting too much. So I do like to try and walk a little bit here and there, and build up my charges. And you can actually see when you're out of charges because it'll turn red. You can see the loot filter in action. It just says flawless, which means that's a flawless skull, that's a flawless ruby. It does show mana potions and health potions, which is nice because it doesn't take a bunch of room, but if you need a potion, it's definitely there on the ground for you. And yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit more until we get to something interesting. So, let's see here. We're going around, we're clearing the map, and then I think we get into a Shadows of Mendeln event. Here we go. Yeah, so we're coming up to it, and I think I turn on my sound so you can hear what it kind of sounds like to play. Basically, it's just constant screaming. So you can play without sound if you want to, or you don't have to. But for this event, the Shadows of Mendeln event, we go ahead, we try and kill the ranged monsters, and then after that, it's kind of just boring. We just kind of, I mean, like literally, I'm just holding my Warcry button, and I'm basically just like AFK. So, at some point, I'm gonna have to go kill those ranged skeletal mages. But I mean, this is kind of a joke of an event. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit. And nothing notable happens. We just keep on shouting, battle cry, war cry. My buffs actually fall off here, which is a pretty big mistake on my part. So I wish they did last a little bit longer, but we'll probably refresh them before the boss. At least I hope so. But yeah, so the event should be done pretty soon, and we do get a Splinter of the Void, which is pretty neat, so that's nice. And yeah, the event's done. We've cleared pretty much most of the map, so we're going to head on over towards the boss. And the boss room is pretty sketchy, so I think I only have like maybe 4 full rejuves, or maybe like 5 or 6 full rejuves on me. I might have passed one up just there, but I have a bunch more in my inventory. So I'm going to slow this down a little bit because this is... Let's see here. Then we have to go to speed, and we go to normal. And yeah, so this room is just nuts. There's so many monsters. The blizzard hurts. The Wahid, the trader, is lighting me up. Luckily, me and Emilio are just chatting out over here, and we're not dying. And yeah, it's pretty sketchy, but I mean, as long as you can get on top of them and battle cry and war cry like 3 times, it'll pretty much kill anything. So, except for bosses. But so we're clearing out a lot of these ranged monsters, doing what we can, and I do not want to fight the boss until I've cleared out all this other stuff. So, and we go back over here. And I ran over there, and that was just to make sure I have charges if I need teleport charges, because I wasn't in any danger right there. I'm going to go ahead and snag a health potion and chug it. Really, with a health pool that big, I mean, it's kind of just like a weird small regen, but it's definitely worthwhile if you're low. I'm completely out of potions, but luckily there's a couple stuff on the ground, and now we can fight the boss. And then I go up here, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a couple more ranged guys. Let's go ahead and take them out. Let's pick up some loot. I realize that we're out of inventory space. And I put down a Grimward, and then I battle cry, taunt, and then I start war crying. Now, I don't think taunt actually works because it doesn't actually show the taunt icon on the boss, and he's obviously just beating the hell out of Emilio. But I can basically hold my E key, which is my war cry, and then begin identifying items. And yeah, my mercenary's not in danger of dying at all, and we're kind of just going to town, killing him. And he's getting pretty low. And I have double ists on my weapon swap, so as he's getting pretty low, I will go ahead and swap my weapons. And as you can see, they turn red, and I swap it, and we get an Alders and a tier 2 map out of it. So I'm out of scrolls of identify, so I can't identify, but it's only a 2 socket. Doesn't really matter. It's basically trash. But yeah, so that's the whole map. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed seeing a little gameplay footage. And it took me about 14 minutes to do the entire map, including the Mendeln event, which is pretty damn fast for this map, which is a Fall of Chaldea map at 300 monster density. And I probably killed about 92% of the monsters. I definitely didn't kill every monster in the map, but we killed at least 90% of them, all the big packs. So pretty happy with that. And yeah, so that's a pretty good showcase. I wanted to talk about gold find. So as you can see, I have no gold right here. If you look at my stats, normally I have about 15 gold find, but if I weapon swap, we get to 920 because I have double Alibabas filled with lems, and I feel like this is plenty enough gold find to do what we gotta do. We still have a pretty high level Warcry, it's level 42, and yeah, so basically what I do when I need money is I will go ahead and go to Travancore, I will buff up, and I will teleport over. I will swap to my Alibabas, and we're going to obliterate these monsters. And it is a little sketchy, so you might have to bring some rejuves with you. And then we're going to go ahead and find item. And so basically we're just hoping to hit some big piles of gold. Sometimes it auto picks it up super quick. And looks like having a little bit of issues picking up that gold. But as you can see, we just got 330,000 gold, and it took about 15 seconds. So if you have enough rejuves or normal health potions or whatever, you can do this over and over and over, and then you can go ahead and use that to buy things like the Ancient Orbs, the Zakram Orbs, and the Haradrim Orbs. And so I have 30 plus, 40 plus of all of these. And it's just a fantastic way to make money, and this is probably one of the best characters to do it because of the fact that you can easily kill stuff with double-isted Alibabas, and you have the skill Find Item, which gives us a nice 47% chance to basically find more gold. So yeah, that's it for the gold find strategy. So that's it for the Warcry Barbarian. I already have the support build kind of other video on it, and this is a pretty good showcase of the mapping build. I think it's a fantastic build and really good at mapping. You will be chugging rejuves, especially with the setup that I have, so you might have to farm for some rejuves before you do some of your maps. And yeah, it's an awesome build. It's great for gold to find, great for mapping, pretty damn good in party play, not very expensive other than the Enigma, which you can circumvent with Naja's set. And yeah, no, I highly recommend checking this build out, and I'll see you next time.